Hey guys, and because the Game Boy Advance isn't a real system for my collection videos, because I go backwards because I'm a weird buffoon, according to Eric Cartman. I'm going to go to the Game Boy realm of stuff. I'm going to do a collection video on my Game Boy games. Don't worry, an Advance and Color Game Boy Color video are going to be coming out eventually. Just I like the original one a little bit more, so I'm going to talk about it first. Thanks, guys. Also, I own a lot of shovelware for the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. I don't own that much shovelware, so I think it'll be more interesting. I'm like, oh, I haven't played this game. You get the point. So I'm going to be going from a few shovelware games, and then I'm going to go to the good stuff. So I'm going to go in reverse order from basically worst to best. Yeah, let's go, Game Boy, let's go. So, for the Game Boy, I have a lot of shovelware titles. My story of how I got all these is I went to a yard sale, and this person who I actually knew in real life before this came, hey, you like video games? I have a lot in my room. So I went up there, and he had a lot of really cool games. Like, most of my Nintendo 64 collection is from him. And I missed a chance to get a $1 copy of Pokemon Emerald. I was stupid back then. But I bought a lot of games from the Game Boy, and most of them were crappy. And I also missed a chance to get Advance Wars 1 and 4. I'm the dumbest kid ever. But today we're going to be looking at some of the shovelware games we got, like Krusty the Clown. Okay, this game obviously it's seen better days. I hopefully, I mean, someone must have played it once, maybe. I don't even know anymore. What is my life? So after we have that thing, Delta Voice, now let's go to Black Bass Lure Fishing. I'm sorry, I had to look at the logo because it's so tiny. As we can see, there is a fish and a fish hook with some bait on it. And some really crappy labeling. Totally stood the test of time. This game has probably seen those better days too, and I'm never going to touch it. I put in my Game Boy once like 5 years ago, and I didn't understand it, and I'm never playing it ever again because it's Black Bass Lure Fishing. Next we have Star Wars Return of the Jedi or New Hope. Oh, it's Return of the Jedi. Look at the art. But this game I also got there. I picked this over Pokemon Emerald. Let that sink in. I'm so dumb. But this game, I actually played it. It's not that bad. It's basically the equivalent of Super Star Wars, the Famicom version, which is actually pretty fun. It's not that bad. I'm probably never going to play it, but you know. I mean, it came with a really crappy low-res picture of Leia in the bikini, so I guess that's something. Next, we have some pretty decent games. Actually, I'm going to rip off the price tag for this because I'm not a good boy. Here we have Donkey Kong on the Game Boy, as most people refer to it as Donkey Kong 94, because that's the year it was released in. It's not the original, and Pauline's in it, and Donkey Kong's in it, and Amaro's in it. It's cool. And Donkey Kong Jr. isn't in the game, but I mean, he's on the box, so you can look at him forever. So, it's just a wacky old Game Boy game. It's a part of the original Donkey Kong with some really cool new levels. Never really got into it. It's a good game, though. I would advise you pick it up just to see Donkey Kong Jr. and his tongue. I think that's his tongue. I hope it's his tongue. If it's not his tongue, then K. Next we have Super Mario Land 2, a game I'm going to do a review of someday. Hopefully that'll come out eventually. But this game is amazing. I love it so much. I have so much nostalgia for it. It's one of the first games I ever played. And it's just a really cool game, and I like it, and it smells good, and that's good enough for me. In the trend of Mario Land games. Here we have the original Super Mario Land. I didn't like it that much. It's okay. It's just a crappy version of the original Mario one. It made unnecessary changes. The vehicle sections are pretty cool. The rest of the game is pretty boring and short and not worth the money. I paid $5 for this and I still felt like I was getting ripped off. Why Mario? Why? Why Tatanga? Why Mario in a submarine with an octopus? A seahorse that is yellow and whatever the hell this is, and that guy. Why? I don't want to scream because my parents are probably sleeping. Screaming's fun though. Here we have another excellent Game Boy game, Metroid 2: Return of Samus. I love this game. It's really fun to just roam around and get items. I'm not good at it. I'm terrible at Metroid games, but it's fun to pop this game in every once in a while and get a little farther than I did before. Metroid 2, way better than the first and one of the best Game Boy games. Wish it got a DX version like Link's Awakening, but that's another great game. I don't own it physically though. Yeah, it's a great game. Here I have my original copy of Mario Land 2, the one I bought a million years ago for $5. www.thatse.com, that's entertainment, whatever. Here we have probably the game out of all my games in my collection that I am best at. The game that I have perfected to a T. I bet most of you can tell from the logo, but it's Tetris. This masterpiece, this perfect game. It's one that I always am playing. Like on that car ride I told you about in the first update video, I played this game for like 90% of the time I was out. It was just great. And I got a high score of 140 lines during that time. That was pretty cool. It's a lot of lines. Not as many as this art though. So that's it. That's my Game Boy collection. Thank you, little hamsters, for watching. I swear to God, hamsters. What am I? What have I become? You hamsters. Goodbye, hamsters.